Well, welcome back. We're here at KHTS in downtown Newhall on a beautiful, beautiful day here Wednesday, and we're with an exciting group. This is the Providence Holy Cross Health Hour, and we're discussing minimally invasive versus robotic surgeries, and the reason we're doing this is that we've realized over at Holy Cross that we have a void in the general surgery, and our goal is to try to make our community healthier, and by offering the best services that we possibly can. And before we went to the break, Dr. Daniel Marcus, who is with us, kind of brought up the concept of having a great collaborative approach, working with the patient, with the health systems and such, in their approach, and trying to make sure that outcomes are going to be most beneficial when the patients are healthier. And we are being asked. We want to do this, but we're being asked nationally to take a look at community health. The hospitals are trying to create programs that will allow for our community, the community that supports us, and we're trying to bring that support back to them by allowing us to help them become healthier. And those outcomes become much greater, as was indicated, even with smoking. It can slow down the possibility of healing and decrease the outcomes with surgery. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Now, as we move forward, we're joined by Mr. Bruce Stone, who is a patient of Dr. Marcus's, and we were talking off air during the break there that there is a thought process to go through this, and oftentimes you hear from the professionals on why we should do this, but I'm really interested in hearing from you and how you came to the decision on agreeing to go to a specific approach, laparoscopic versus robotic. Can you kind of step us through that?
Sure. I actually was facing three different decisions. There were a couple of people I talked to that still were the old school, where they actually make the big incision in your side. And in fact, one of the people that works in our company, just a week around the time I was having it, actually had the old school approach, and he has a big incision in his side, and he was, in fact, 20 some odd years younger than me, and he was out for a month, in fact, past the time I had my surgery. But I did seriously look at, the multiple site incisions, the arthroscopic surgery, and I didn't feel very comfortable with that. And then I looked for surgeons that did the robotic surgery and talked to a number of doctors, specialists in the area, and Dr. Marcus was the one that seemed to have the wealth of experience. I didn't want a surgeon that had done a handful of these. I wanted somebody that had serious experience in this area, and in fact, I found out that Dr. Marcus had actually taught this procedure to other physicians and had proctored other physicians, and I thought that's the kind of doctor I wanted to go to do this procedure, and in fact, I got the kind of results I was hoping for, which were fantastic.
Oh, that's great. And that's one of the reasons why Holy Cross reached out to Dr. Marcus with the knowledge that we had a void in our minimally invasive towards general surgery, and especially with robotics. The idea was that we wanted to incorporate this within our programs. And the thought is, do you ramp up a program like that, bring either educate your present staff, or do you bring in an expert? And it's oftentimes, Mr. Stone, I think you put it very eloquently, is that, you can have somebody who does 5 of these a month, or you can have somebody who does 25 of these a month. The skill level, and Dr. Marcus, you can comment on this, it becomes greater the more times you have the opportunity to perform this procedure. Is that right?
For sure. I mean, I think like anything else, experience really makes a big difference. And we have noticed that over the years that as we train other surgeons, which I think is important because it's all about scale. We can't possibly reach all and access all the patients who need, and so we want to be able to train people. It's not a competitive thing. We're all part of the same community collectively, and so we want to train. But in doing that, we recognize that it does take time, and we are trying to always develop mentorships so that surgeons can get to the level of expertise. There's no question that if there is any higher risk of complications, I think most studies have proven that is during the early learning curve. Okay, so I think that nobody wants to feel that they're part of that. They want to get to the point after someone has plateaued and gotten to the perfect results that they can.
Yeah, and that's an important piece. The Holy Cross itself prides its ability to develop a great patient experience. It offers best practices in a number of procedures, in all procedures, and we continue to strive towards that. And having our physician crew, our core physicians who are doing all the procedures at the hospital, it's not practice. We want our surgeons highly skilled, which is the reason why we reach out to the surgeons that we do, including yourself, to be able to bring in that sense of knowledge and that sense of skill. I will tell you, my son asked me once to sit down and play a little Xbox, go to Call of Duty and give that a whirl, and I was the Atari generation and the Intellivision generation. I couldn't get my fingers to do what they needed to do, and the learning curve for me was definitely a lot longer than what my attention span was. And so I find that this is going to be extremely beneficial to our program to have that wealth of knowledge and wealth of experience to be able to step in over at Holy Cross and step right into a system. Da Vinci, I'm assuming, is a very quality piece of machinery.
Yes, for sure. I mean, right now, Intuitive Surgical, which makes the Da Vinci robot, is the leader. It's really the only robot that is on the market. Over the next several years, the next 10 years, we'll probably look back and think that this was a very rudimentary robot. But right now, this is really state of the art. And so there have been several generations of the Da Vinci robot. We're now on the fourth to fifth generation. At Holy Cross, we have the most current generation robot, and so that is important to factor in. So there isn't really anything that we can't do, whether it's colon surgery, hernia surgery, single-site gallbladder surgery, and of course the other specialties, GYN and thoracic surgery. There isn't anything that we can't approach, and this is really about a team. It's about having the nurses and the techs equally capable of doing that. And so we really are planning on building a strong program so that we can offer everything, because as we all know, in healthcare nowadays, nobody should have to travel far to get the best healthcare. The healthcare should be able to come to the patient.
This is absolutely true, and it's a goal of what's going on with Holy Cross, to be able to offer, and Providence in itself, we do have a kind of a triumvirate, if you will, within the valley between Holy Cross, St. Joseph's, and Tarzana, and the ability to offer strong programs at all three of the ministries is going to be extremely important for us. And Holy Cross, because of it being a trauma center, we need to make sure that we're able and capable of handling anything that gets thrown at us. A few years back, one of the hospital systems up in Antelope Valley developed a trauma center, and my understanding that that might be coming into question if that will remain that way. But Holy Cross has to be prepared to be able to handle what it used to handle, which was covering an area from about Edwards Air Force Base all the way down to the southern portion of the San Fernando Valley, as far to Simi Valley and into Pasadena. And so the number of patients that are going to be brought in for who knows a variety of different reasons, we have to be well prepared and well versed to be able to handle anything, and we do pride ourselves on that, and that's what we're hoping to be able to do as we move forward with our minimally invasive programs with general surgery. Now, the piece that I found to be very interesting, if you will, I hope you don't mind talking about it, is your father was a physician in LA.
Correct.
And which is fantastic, but more so is that you actually were a patient early on prior to ever becoming a doctor, and I can remember back to watching a movie with William Hurt and being able to recognize that the health system and medical in general carries a certain level of impersonalness to it, and you're not that guy.
No.
Can you tell why?
Well, yeah, I think growing up in a family where my father was a old-fashioned general practitioner, and he did things as a general practitioner that in surgery that I wouldn't even do today. I mean, those were the days of doctors doing appendectomies and cesarean sections and tonsillectomies, and the world has changed. I think one thing that I hope that I gained from that experience was how important the personal element to treating patients is. And when I was in college at UCLA, I was diagnosed with cancer, and I ended up having to have surgery for that and chemotherapy. And it was in the middle of my junior year in college, and it was not an experience that I'd ever wish on anybody else. But I will say that having gone through it, it was one of the most powerful experiences of my life. And so now, taking care of many patients with cancer, I can very accurately understand what that means and what the potential emotional strife that is. It's an incredible thing, and to be able to tell someone that you survived something that they think is not survivable, I think is a very important thing, and I think it's made me a better physician for sure.
Yet the empathic approach versus the sympathetic approach.
Yes.
Very, very powerful.
Yeah. And you just can't teach that. You can't really teach that, but it's been very, very important. And I think that offering all of these, I used to work at Kaiser when I first came back to California, and I will say the Kaiser system is a great healthcare system, but one of the reasons that I chose to return to private practice was I didn't want anyone to dictate to me how much time I spent with a patient. And if I spend, and I usually do spend an hour with every new patient, that's very important. And I think that patients, as we get more and more into texting, my kids, are having a harder time talking and better time texting. I think that bringing the personal approach and as much time and energy is required is really and as much expertise, and having all of that, nowadays we have all of that at our wherewithal, then that just makes a perfect result.
It does, and it's funny that you said that. We're running preoperative classes for our total joints at the hospital every week, and the thing that impresses me the most is the actual educational piece, and I'm the one teaching that, is probably about 40 minutes, give or take. The question and answer is an additional 45 minutes, and there's only 5 or 6 people in the class. And it's, when you hear all the questions and the such, that you can see that there is genuine concern by the patient, and to be able to have that opportunity to be able to speak with the medical professionals, to be able to get the information to make you feel more comfortable, is extremely powerful. And the fact that you are spending the time with the patients, that's something that fits in over at Holy Cross. And I kind of printed something out. It's something that we kind of live by. We have our core values over at Holy Cross, and it's respect, compassion, justice, excellence, and stewardship. And, just in the short period of time, in 25, 30 minutes or so, we've touched on pretty much all of them. The respect for the patient, respect for the process, respect for the need of what people are going to want, and the future of what medicine's going to want is obvious. The compassion portion of it, your empathic approach fits beautifully in with the compassion aspect of a core value that occurs over at Holy Cross. The justice and the excellence, I think excellence specifically, being able to succeed and be the best at what you do, it's apparent that you are doing that. And we have some representatives from Providence here as well, and Tony Hernandez, who's part of our regional marketing group. The importance for collaborating with professionals that meet these core values. How important is that when we're out looking for people?
It's extremely important. I mean, that's how, we really come to work every day and we lead by those values. And that's the common thread that really unite all of us. And it just makes our job easier, because once you're aligned to those values, it just makes your job so much easier, because then you have a common goal, and we're always really trying to do the best, that we can for not only our patients but our caregivers and our employees. So it's extremely important to us.
Well, that's just great. And in I think the aspect of having organizations such as KHTS being able to step in and be a part of the board, can you go into how the board functions within the hospital and how, similar to what like a KHTS would be able to, how they've been able to help with Holy Cross specifically?
Well, there really are sometimes our eyes in the community. And the boards, it's made really it's a diverse group of members. I mean, some of them are, they're very active in the community. Others are in media. So they really serve as our eyes and ears. So sometimes when we go off track, on certain things, they kind of keep us on track. Hey, we have certain needs in the community, and really serves as our proxies. They help us raise funds, and they really keep us aligned to what we want to do, which is really help the community.
Oh, that's great. If you're just joining us right now, we are discussing minimally invasive procedures, robotics, and general surgery, touching on some core values. You're really here with the Providence Holy Cross Health Hour, here with KHTS AM 1220, the hometown station for Santa Clarita. And again, we wanted to emphasize coming out to Santa Clarita to be able to discuss this, because Santa Clarita is about 20% of our patient load at the hospital itself, and home of at least 20% of our employees. And so not only are we working with a community that is extremely diverse and fantastic. I live here in Santa Clarita and am very proud to be able to say so. But Santa Clarita is really kind of the backyard, or Holy Cross is really the backyard of Santa Clarita. So it's very nice to be able to come out and reach out and have such a strong proponent for the hospital as we have here at KHTS. If you are listening, or if you've been traveling around and leaving the valley for whatever reason that might be, make sure that you go over to your app store for your iPhone or your Android, and make sure you pick up your KHTS app. It's free. It took me about 25 seconds to load it onto my phone, and you can go ahead and pick everything else live. Regardless of where you are, you're going to be able to listen to KHTS and keep your finger on the pulse of what's going on in Santa Clarita. We've got about a minute or so before we head off to a break and start to kind of wrap things up. We're here with Dr. Daniel Marcus and Mr. Bruce Stone, patient extraordinaire, as well as Tony Hernandez from our regional marketing group here at Providence Holy Cross, discussing minimally invasive procedures and robotics, and trying to let the community know that we're here to meet their need, and that need was obvious in general surgery, and Dr. Marcus is going to be able to bring a wealth of knowledge and expertise into Holy Cross to be able to allow us to continue to grow and to be on the forefront of what is going on in medicine. Dr. Marcus, any quick brief message before we break?
Well, I think you said it all. I mean, I think the ability now in 2016 to offer everything from one site is really what we're looking forward to. And I think we can do that in my little field of general surgery and robotics. I think we can offer, every cutting-edge procedure that is available.
Well, that is great. And we will be back just to kind of wrap things up. You're with KHTS AM 1220, your hometown station. And welcome back, Santa Clarita. Here we are with the Providence Holy Cross Health Hour, coming to you from the beautiful KHTS studios in New Hall. Our guest, Daniel Marcus, Dr. Daniel Marcus, is here with us, as well as his patient extraordinaire, Bruce Stone. And it's been a great 50 minutes or so, getting some really decent information. Makes me excited as an orthopedic program manager over at Holy Cross to see that Holy Cross continues to stay at the forefront, recognizing that being able to have the minimally invasive and the robotic approach for general surgery, we already offered for a variety of other surgical approaches, but to have it for general surgery is exciting, and it was great to get a chance to actually meet you. to actually have the person who is, in theory, you could say, is writing the book. And he's going to be joining the crew over at Holy Cross and bring that wealth of knowledge. I want to make sure that our people who are listening and people who are interested have the ability to reach you. So if you can, let them know how you can be found.
Sure. Well, first of all, I just want to thank everybody from KHTS and the community for listening, and Tom and Tony for inviting me and Bruce. And there's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much to learn about this, and I think it's very important to be as well educated as possible. So we're pretty proud of our website, which has a lot of resources, patient testimonials, description of robotic procedures. So I'd encourage everybody to go on our website, which is just drdanielmarcus.com, and you can call our office at area code 310-305-1813, and we'll be happy to get you all the information necessary, and of course through the Holy Cross Health hotline.
And that hotline is, Tony, if you want to go ahead and take it there.
Our Health Resource Center's number is 1-888-432-5464.
And that spells healing.
That's right.
So 1-888-HEALING will get you to the Health Resource Center, where you can get a lot of information and be able to get assistance as for whatever your needs might be, which might be inclusive of calling because you're looking for a minimally invasive surgeon for perhaps a hernia repair, and that's another way that you'll be able to reach to Dr. Marcus. Also, just wanted to bring up the fact that we do, the Health Resource Center also has a variety of different functions, as well as for allowing you to register for classes. And some of the upcoming classes I pulled off of the Providence Holy Cross website. On April 26th, we'll be doing the joint replacement education class. Oh, that's going to be with me. On the 2nd, Big Kids and Baby Sibling Tour, and then on this, also on the 2nd, the maternity tour. That's gonna be, sounds like it's gonna be a place I don't want to be on the 2nd with all the kids and such running around. I'm just kidding. And Mr. Stone, thank you very much. I mean, it's to step out and take time out of your day to be here. Really, really appreciate it.
You know what? The surgery was so helpful for me. I wanted everybody to know how much it can help, how much, what a great job Dr. Marcus did, and I'm just thrilled to be able to be here and share my experience.
Well, the approach sounds fantastic, and as a physical therapist to have less scars, less scar tissue, decreased downtime, improved outcomes, early return to activities. All of that is just so advantageous and goal-wise that most of our patients are going to be seeking. Nowadays, it's very difficult getting that time off of work, and it's nice to know that they're going to have an option if they do have to go through some form of general surgery, that they're going to be able to return in a quicker amount of time, improved quality of life, which could include being able to return back to work and be able to head back to a wedding the following week, so that way you can go ahead and get your groove on the dance floor.
Absolutely.
So that's fantastic. And Tony Hernandez, part of our regional marketing group, appreciate you coming out. You came up from the Burbank area, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so it's not too far to come up, but Holy Cross and Providence's success sits on the ability of being able to get our name out to the community. And we want to thank KHTS for allowing us the ongoing opportunity to be able to express to the Santa Clarita Valley all of the different things that we have options and opportunities to be able to deliver to them. They are a very important community, and as I said before, most of Holy Cross, or a lot of Holy Cross, is actually part of this community. So I think right about there, we're going to go ahead and say goodbye. We're going to be moving on next month. I believe on the 18th, we'll be having our guest will be Dr. Justin Scherfay. Is that correct? We'll be discussing total joint replacements and orthopedic approach. And just really excited. And to thank everyone again, and thank you to KHTS.
Thank you.
This is KHTS, AM 1220 AM, hometownstation.com.